Thank you. Obviously great to be here representing the University of Alabama and the SEC. I'd certainly like to thank all of you for the great job that you do for our league, for our student athletes, and the attention that you give them with the coverage that you give not only our program but our league and our individual players. One thing I do want to get established here is I want to make sure I'm in the right year. I want to be in the moment here today. Is it 2010? Am I right about that? Because everything I kind of hear has always been about last year. So I want to make sure that we're going to talk about this year relative to our team. And you know, last year was a great part of Alabama tradition and certainly an indelible part of Alabama football history. You know, we had an outstanding team that really bought in and had great team chemistry, and we're really proud of the fact that we had 22 graduates in the national championship game and 13 guys that ended up signing professional contracts, and a lot of people that are really going to be successful in life from that team because of the character. The team had something to do with our current team understanding the formula for success and what it takes in terms of focusing on the process of what it takes to be successful in terms of work ethic and positive energy and attitude, and everybody being responsible and accountable for what they need to do to be successful, and how important team chemistry is, and confidence and what it takes, and self-imposed limitations that sometimes you can shed when you are able to accomplish something even beyond what you thought you might. So, you know, Phil Mickelson, I think, is kind of a great example of all that, in that, you know, it took him 14 years before he won a major, but when he won one, he won several. And but last year is basically over, and you know, we're not really defending a championship. I'm sure somebody's going to ask me, you know, how are you going to defend this championship? The championship's a part of history, and we're not going to defend anything. I think we're not into repeating. You know, everybody asked the Yankees when they were in training camp, is it going to be more difficult to repeat this year and win in the World Series than it was a year ago? And all 25 guys said yes, absolutely it would be, but no one really could answer the question why. And I think the why comes from it's more difficult to focus on the process of what it takes to be successful when you're coming off of having success. And you know, that's certainly going to be the challenge for our team. And to focus on doing the right things, the things that are necessary to create an identity for this team in terms of what this team wants to accomplish and what this team can do in this football season is what we're trying to focus on, and that's certainly something that we would like for them to focus on. You know, we've had a good off season, we had a good spring practice, we've had a good summer conditioning program, but I think really a lot is going to be answered about this team in this fall camp. You know, a realistic view of this team is that we lost 11 starters, a punter, a kicker, and a great return guy. So we lost a lot of good football players from last year's team, which is going to create a lot of opportunity for some other young players who need to prove and show that they can play with consistency and performance. That's going to enable them to be successful relative to what they have to do to sort of satisfy their role so that their particular unit, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, can be successful in what they want to do. But you really can't look in the rearview mirror and be able to accomplish these things. You have to look forward and stay focused on the present moment in terms of what it takes to be successful, the work ethic that it takes, everybody's commitment to a standard of excellence, the respect and trust that we have to have for each other in the organization so that we can be a good team with good team chemistry, and certainly everybody being responsible for their own self-determination, which is all about accountability to do your job. And that's something that's always been a big part of what we've tried to get every team to do, and that's going to be really important for this team. Look, if we had all the same ingredients coming back, all the same ingredients. You know, I watched a TV show the other day, and one of them cooking shows where the guy on TV showing you how to cook. Well, let me just say, I put all the same ingredients in my pot as he put in his, and what came out of the oven wasn't the same as what came out of his oven. So even if we had all the same ingredients back, it would be difficult to manufacture the same kind of team chemistry. And that's one of the great things about college football is there's always a lot of new opportunity for a lot of new people because you have turnover on your team. And a realistic approach is, you know, are we going to be able to do the things that we need to do with the young players that don't have as much experience, that are going to get some on-the-job training in terms of what they want to accomplish and what they need to do a good job? Are they going to be able to do those things with the right attitude, the right commitment, the right intensity, the right sort of ability to overcome adversity, deal with success when they have success, and have the maturity to overcome some of the negatives that they'll surely go through in this season. So it always comes down to how many shining lights do you have on your team and how many blinking lights do you have. Blinking lights are people who don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't do the right things. They don't have the right habits. They don't have the correct discipline to get the job done on a consistent basis, and those kinds of players usually affect your ability to be successful. So lots of challenges on this team, you know, to replace 8 defensive starters, which is what we have to replace, and 4 in the secondary. All 4 guys in the secondary will be a real challenge, even though we have some talented players who lack experience. And, you know, again, how they sort of grow and learn and mature as players is going to determine to a large degree the kind of success that we have. So, you know, offensively, we have 8 players back on offense, starters. 3 really good receivers, 2 really good runners, a very experienced quarterback who did an outstanding job for us last year, and Greg McElroy, who incidentally is applying for a Rhodes Scholarship. So offensive line, we got a couple guys to replace, but actually have 3 starters back there, and a good young tight end prospect to replace the tight end. So, and we're going to have a freshman punter, and we're going to have a freshman kicker almost certainly. A lot of question marks, you know, when you look forward about Alabama's football team next year, and very challenging for us to take these guys and see how well we can help them develop and mature so that we can play in what's going to be most certainly a very competitive league. You know, I see probably the 2 teams that lost the most just on paper is probably Alabama and Florida, who played in the championship game last year. So I think there'll be more parity in the league, and it will be more difficult week in and week out, you know, for all of us to determine the success that we're going to have, and the challenge of being consistent in the performance that we try to provide. So August 4th starts camp for us. We have 2 weeks from today. We just finished up a high school camp today. You know, we've had a good summer. Our players have worked hard, and we're looking forward to having a great, you know, fall camp. And I think, again, I said earlier that our fall camp is probably going to be the most important that we've had since we've been there, because a lot of challenges are going to get answered realistically, you know, and how our team progresses in these 2 or 3 weeks of fall camp before our first game against San Jose State. And we have a difficult schedule, playing Penn State this year, as well as, you know, Florida, South Carolina, and Tennessee in the East. And I think that every team in the West is going to be better than they were a year ago in our estimation. So really looking forward to the challenge of the season, and really looking forward to getting started on August the 4th. One thing I'd like to mention, you know, this whole Marcel Darius thing, which I'm sure you're going to ask about, is you know, our compliance people are looking into it in conjunction with the NCAA, and we're not really going to make any comments, nor do we have any information that he did anything wrong or he didn't do anything wrong. But we're going to find out with the due diligence that we look for. And I think that I would like to say there are probably 3 areas of responsibility